Hello, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are. Welcome to Plug and Play Fall Summit 2020. My name is Zoe Iwu. I'm the program manager for the Enterprise Tech program. This is the agenda for today. We're thrilled to have Peter Weicht to be our keynote speaker, and he will share his insights in corporate innovation. And then we will showcasing 18 startups announcing the Corporate Innovation Award and switch to Remo for a live networking session. With that, I would turn it over to my colleague Connie to kick off the event.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Enterprise Tech Fall Summit. I'm Connie Weissman, co-director of the Enterprise Tech Vertical. We're happy to have you here today virtually, and we look forward to hopefully seeing you in 2021 in person. I'd like to spend a few minutes just to introduce the Enterprise Tech team. I, along with Nate Hinneman, are co-directors of the Enterprise Tech Vertical. In addition, we have Amit Patel, who is our venture associate, and he's the one who helps source all the terrific startups that you will see today and that you've seen in our top 100 list and in our various previous cohorts. In addition, we have Zoe Wu, who is our program manager and has helped with the startups that have gone through our most recent batch 6 cohort. The anchor partners that are involved with Enterprise Tech run the gamut. We have telcos to professional services organizations to banks and systems integrators. Most of our partners can take advantage of Enterprise Tech regardless of the industry that they're in, because our vertical, or I should say our horizontal, really addresses the needs of enterprises to help get startups to help them run more efficiently and to increase their capabilities for their back office. The Enterprise Tech focus areas are as follows. We look at cybersecurity startups, finance, operations, and legal startups, growth and customer experience, infrastructure and IT, human resources and talent, and big data and data analytics. Over the last 3 months, in addition to running our cohort, we've also had a few webinars that were very, very interesting. We had a webinar called Remote to Reopening, and second webinar that we had, virtually of course, was called Boosting Employee Productivity Through Automation. These 2 webinars can be found on our YouTube channel. On October 27th, we will be having our last webinar of the cohort called Cybersecurity and Healthcare. In addition to our webinars, we also published a case study between Willis Towers Watson and Syndio. Willis Towers Watson is a very active HR partner with us, and Syndio participated in our last cohort. Through the partnership with Syndio, Willis Towers Watson successfully added new and exciting components to their pay equity suite. Syndio's technology allowed Willis Towers Watson's clients to quickly reach more informed decisions on pay gaps, deal with budget constraints, and look at pay inequities. This collaboration helped the clients of Willis Towers Watson eradicate pay discrepancies, leading to a higher retention rates and stronger corporate culture and greater profitability. So we're very, very proud to share that case study with you. Should you have an interest, please reach out to either myself, Connie at PMPTC, or Nate at PMPTC for any additional information on either the case studies, the webinars, or if you'd like to do a deal flow in Enterprise Tech, even if you are a current partner and would like to know a little bit more about the focus areas that we are concentrating on, we'd love to do a deal flow for you. Now, we are proud to have as our keynote speaker, Peter Weicht, who is a Senior Director of Strategy at SAP. The name of his talk today is called Innovation as a Process, Not an Event. Peter will share his best practices on corporate innovation and how organic as well as inorganic approaches of growth can coexist when embarking on a build, buy, or partner mindset. Peter will provide an outlook on the future generation of self-driving enterprises and show latest trends, bringing us closer to that vision. Peter led SAP's first AI acquisition and was part of the core team around SAP's acquisition of experience management leader, Qualtrics, and that happened in 2019. In prior roles, Peter led the Innovation Center in Silicon Valley, responsible to incubate emerging products like SAP's digital assistant and conversational AI platform, and he helped scale those across SAP's large customer base. So we're thrilled to have Peter share his insights with us today, and without any further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Peter. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie and team, for having me. Thanks for the really nice introduction. I'm really honored to be here to speak to you, your partners, your customers about how innovation is shaping the world and how innovation is a process and not just an event. I feel it's more important than ever to really be an innovative company and be agile and fast in adjusting to the given circumstances. We live really in, I should say, really uncertain times and unprecedented times. We have not had such a pandemic before. We're in the age of climate change, right? And we also have, especially here in California, where I am right now out of Mountain View, we have wildfires that are also changing the nature of the game. So for companies, for human beings, innovation is a crucial process to actually adjust and adapt to the circumstance. And I want to take you on a journey a little bit, how I've been experiencing innovation in my 10 years roughly in innovation from an organic as well as inorganic side. Organic, I mean the time, as Connie mentioned, when I was running the Innovation Center, where I was building out products, going through an innovation life cycle in the Innovation Center, bringing out new products for SAP and shaping the future of SAP in that sense. Plus also then, as I mentioned, the inorganic side that includes buying, partnering, trading certain goods, and making sure that SAP is growing through external influence and buying in, partnering in certain capabilities that we need. But let's first look at what are some of the key challenges that will drive eventually the need for innovation. They are redeploying of talent, right? Launching new business models, pivoting production, shifting operations, and multiplying productivity. Those are common challenges that we see today with our customers, and I'm sure also that you see them on your daily basis as well. Let's just take redeploying talent, right? So one of our larger customers in the telco business, they had the challenge, all of a sudden, their stores had to close. They had to retrain within just a couple of weeks, had to retrain all these store associates in call centers. Another example that I like actually, that I see also on a personal basis, many of the retail stores that were set up to actually buy goods in large facilities, in large shopping centers, they all of a sudden had to change the business model to curbside pickup. What used to take 18 months sometimes to change such a business model and get the infrastructure ready and do all the things in order to enable that business model change now had to be done almost overnight, right? So we see that tremendous change of businesses, the need for businesses to change and adapt to the given circumstances. Unfortunately, many of the companies are like that. Yes, they are a tanker, right? They are slow. And I'm sure also many of you can relate to that. Many of the companies out there are a slow tanker, and that is not in a negative way. Tankers are seaworthy and safe ships, and that's what many companies are too. They're safe ships going through the ocean on one long path, doing best. What they can do is generating money with their core business, and it's really, really hard to shift basically a company in one or the other direction. And that is often the problem why innovation cannot make hold and cannot really start to grow in these companies. Because in order to innovate, you have to be nimble and be quick. And this tanker is just not a fast ship, and also not a ship that you can change course with. as a sailor, I can tell you, just as an example, these tankers, it takes them 3 miles basically to stop them. And if you just apply that to your business, it's very, very similar. So therefore, it is important to actually be quick. And that's why I like to think that you and your business need to think more like a speedboat, and you have to shape your organization in such a way that it has a speedboat-like approach, right? That it thinks about innovation and changing to rapid influence from the outside in a fast way. But when I think about a speedboat, what does that implement, or what does it affect me in the future for my business? How is a trend in the enterprise world basically taking effect when I think about how can I increase speed, agility, and nimbleness? I like to think actually of agile, fast enterprises as intelligent enterprises, and that's what they will be and have to be in the future, right? So we see that a lot in SAP's customer base, that our customers are longing basically to be agile and quick. And we're trying to help them in establishing a mindset with them that allows them to be a self-driving enterprise. Think of it, the self-driving enterprise is like the Teslas that we see here in Silicon Valley very often, and I'm sure also elsewhere in the world where you are right now, very self-driving. You basically don't have to focus that much on where you're going and how the car is driving. You only need to interact in risky situations, it needs driver input, and that's what we want to get to in the intelligent enterprises as well, right? You want an enterprise that basically navigates quickly and agile way the roadblocks that you might have. So automation goes up in order to actually be nimble and adjust quickly to external factors. The repetitive tasks that are carried out by employees and often in manual nature and are hard to change. So change in manual labor is one of the hardest things to do. If you bring those down, you can basically focus in the long term on high value tasks, and those tasks are those that unleash innovation. So if you shift basically more and more your focus towards automation, intelligence, away from repetitive tasks and focus on high value tasks, you will be able to unleash innovation and come quicker to a speedboat-like approach and be faster in maneuvering the waters of pandemics, of natural disasters, economic changes, and so on that we have right now in the world, right? So the visibility, your focus, and agility just go up. So let me take you now into a journey of a product. And that's a journey that not many companies think of when they think about product innovation and when they think of creating new products and emerging products. It is important to note that a product goes along an S-curve, right? You have the initial, what they call era of ferment. That's the beginning, the initial design of a product. It starts to grow. You have a new market, you have an unproven design, but eventually it starts to uptick. Then you have the immense takeoff where rapid growth happens. You see an adoption in the market, an early majority is established, and you're really crossing the chasm of making that product work and gain a high performance level in revenue and in market share. But then eventually you also see the maturity of the product flattening out. And that is something that many companies, or any company for the fact actually, any product company goes through in order to have a product life cycle. But what many companies don't do, they don't realize that it's time to jump the S-curve. And what I mean with jump the S-curve, they have to realize that you have to think about what is next. And that's where basically the innovator's dilemma happens. The innovator's dilemma speaks about the gap basically of cannibalizing your existing growth business or your existing mature business that brings you sustained revenue for a new business where you have high uncertainty if that can fly. However, this is crucial in order to keep growing your company. So this constant jumping of the S-curve is a core function of many companies' future. And companies that don't do that, they will basically, at the end of the life of their tenure, they will die. And that's where the shortening of lifespans of companies has happened. 60, 70 years ago, a lifespan of a regular company was 75 years. Now it has shrunk down to 15 years. So companies that don't innovate and don't constantly jump the S-curve are dying. And that is crucial. And that's why you have to transform your business. And I want to show you in the next slides what and how you can help transforming your business. How do you do that, right? Basically, it is a pretty easy equation. It's innovation equals problem solving and problem finding. Okay, you might say, great, Peter, looks like an easy formula. However, it is important to understand that we humans, right, are not trained necessarily on problem finding. We're all very much trained on problem solving, right? And when I mean problem solving, we all have been trained in school. Okay, you're given a problem, you actually have the teacher give you a math equation, you sit there and you fill it out, and then you're solving the problem, right? You're not questioning, why are you solving this problem? And that's where problem finding is an important skill in the innovation journey. However, many companies, through a lot of thought leadership from the Stanford D School, let's say, and many other established organizations, IDEO and so on, the problem finding space is in many cases massive. Many companies with innovation centers, and I'm sure many of you are from those. Problem finding is a process that is, I don't want to say solved, but it's mastered. However, problem solving in many cases is not yet fully leveraged. Many companies, when they think about problem solving, they don't think broad enough. On the problem finding side, yes, we know design thinking is the driver. You have your viability, your feasibility, and your desirability aspects. You're trying to look at the problem that you're trying to solve holistically. You try to go through the design thinking life cycle, right? That allows you, it's a user-centered approach to find what is the right problem, what is really worth solving for. So once you have found that real problem, then many companies actually in the problem solving space, on the face of problem solving, they actually jump to build, because we're all very much trained to solve a problem with our own hands. We're not really trained to look outside and elsewhere. And that is a core problem that I see, that I've seen in my tenure at SAP, working with various teams and leading own teams, that often really, especially as a software organization, you tend to go into a build kind of mindset. That's the first thing that you do, but you don't look holistically left and right, what are other options out there. And so therefore I want to give you in the next slides now a couple of hints and guides how you should assess where you need to start on the problem solving side. So today we're not problem finding, right? We really want to focus what is the right methodology to actually solve your business need in order to innovate, right? How can you actually drive this innovation? Do I have to build the innovation? Can I partner in the innovation? Or do I need to maybe buy it in, right? And often many people don't consider buying innovation as innovation. I think that is fundamentally wrong, right? You have to use the entire tool set that is to your availability to really make your business grow. And it doesn't matter, you shouldn't be shy saying, oh no, I've just built that, right? And only building is the true innovation. It doesn't matter. It's just really about the continued growth of your company, constantly jumping this S-curve, and that's what you get with this methodology. So let's now go in and see what are some ingredients to a successful build by partner mindset and model that shall help you in your companies. Sorry, the timing is really crucial, right? Find the right point in time to discuss all possible growth options. That is really, really crucial. Many businesses out there and many business leaders that I am working with are not thinking about build by partner early enough. Often I see we jump into the build process, we realize, darn it, it has not really worked out with what we've been building, right? And then the last resort often is, okay, we go and start looking for buy options. We're going to look for partner options. What are things that we maybe can trade in? Where can we just maybe buy a solution from a supplier, from a vendor that helps us overcome our resource gap, our problem that we want to fix and we want to innovate in. So timing is really crucial to actually apply at the right time a holistic approach. And how I like to think about it is when you start a new product innovation life cycle, right? When you start thinking about, okay, where do I want to grow my business? Where do I want to innovate? Which markets do I pick and so on? You should consider, as you consider actually through design thinking in the problem finding space, you consider all the options to do a full 360. You should also do a full 360 of all your options that are out there when it comes to problem solving. The next point that is crucial, as a crucial ingredient, is the team and empowerment. That is almost for me the most important one, I have to say, because especially when it comes to build, buy and partner, teams are not equipped to answer and handle those type of questions. A buy and partner mindset is often only ingrained with the C-levels, maybe one level below C-level, but I've not seen that a regular engineering leader or a mid-level manager in the companies that I've seen, heard of, talked to, that they are fully enabled to kick off, drive, and discuss also buy and partner options. So the lower you get in the hierarchy, I feel the more important, because the more directly you're involved in the product innovation life cycle, the more directly you should use the build, buy, partner mindset in order to make the right decision where to go, right? And then also it is important that you combine the right team to make a decision on the right growth options, right? If it's an organic one, we build, or an inorganic one where we say, okay, we buy and partner certain things in that help us grow our product and innovate in our space, right? So that's important from a team and empowerment perspective. But then also you have to take the timing and the team and guide them through the right process to help them make the right decisions along the way. I will give the process detail a little bit later and also some more examples, but let's jump right in to the team and empowerment first. So just imagine all these tiles are departments in your organization. Who do you usually think is responsible for innovation? Maybe at best, a very, very small segment, right? You have the innovation scouts, you have the innovation centers, you have some incubation units, some accelerators, entrepreneurship teams, and so on. They make a very, very small fraction of the actual innovation mindset that can be unleashed. Usually it's just you that are usually sitting here at the plug and play looking for new ideas, where the trends are heading, how you can basically bring innovation into your company. That is usually just a very small footprint of the overall company size. But it is very, very important that it's understood that innovation is a team sport, right? But how do you recruit the players? And that's where this build by partner mindset helps you when it comes to problem solving, finding the right teams, right? Or finding the right team mixture, I should say. And it's important that those teams are acting as multipliers, that you enable them. And that's where empowerment comes to play that I mentioned earlier, that empowerment happens on all levels, right? That everybody's involved on all levels, and that those people are enabled to multiply and also go to other organizations and help basically multiply that mindset or bring that mindset into other organizations. So eventually you want this whole map to be orange with innovation leaders and scouts that help ingrain that thinking along the way. So core essence is innovation is a team sport also when it comes to problem solving, not just the problem finding. Often we talk about multidisciplinary teams in design thinking or in the problem finding space, in these innovation stage gate processes. We have the concept of multidisciplinary teams. And here I like to advocate that this concept of multidisciplinary teams, T-shaped teams, someone in a team is T-shaped when they have a certain expertise in their field, right? But then they have a crossbar that basically connects them to all the other players in their organization or in their team that is trying to problem solve for a certain challenge. And usually when you think about it from a multidisciplinary team perspective, for problem solving, you would just have your product people, you would have your designer and your engineer. But you need to think in this build by partner mindset more holistically. And you need to bring all the functions together at the right time. And that's usually at the beginning of a product life cycle to decide where and what do we partner in, where do we buy maybe certain components, and what are things that we have as a build option where we say, okay, we have the core expertise to really build it out. And the 4 teams that I usually see that are crucial for a multidisciplinary team approach when it comes to build by partner is you should have your M&A team involved. People like me from corporate development that basically scan the space, that have a good understanding of multiples, what does it cost to bring in a company, what are some of the challenges, integration challenges, and so on and so on. So those are important to bring in and have actually give their input on it. Then you need to bring in the strategy and innovation folks, those that basically shape the corporate strategy, those that shape the innovation agenda, the product strategy for the future. You need to bring in the partner folks, those colleagues that are really having a partner ecosystem under their belt and work with those. And then of course you have to bring classically in the lines of businesses, right? Those that do product and engineering to also weigh in on the build option. And together with these four teams, you basically bring together the holistic approach to look at how can we build and innovate in the best and fastest and most efficient way. Good. Now we have actually learned about the teams, we have learned about the timing, but now we want to learn about the actual process, how to think through basically these various options of build by partner. So the first option is the organic one, right? We already touched that, and we start out, we have a certain problem, a strategic resource gap that we want to fill, that we want to innovate in, and then it's crucial to think about, do we have actually internal resources that are relevant for solving that resource gap, right? Resource gap. And if we answer that the relevance of our internal resources is low, potentially go to the next step. If we say, hey, it's high, we do have these in-house, and we can actually work with our internal resources in an efficient fashion. We have the in-house domain expertise. We also actually have the time horizon to close the gap. And that's one of the most important pieces that often I see that influences a build option. Do we have the time to market to make a build work? Because often build is the thing that takes the longest in time. And so therefore it's important to check what and how long does it take us. So therefore we often go in SAP and really build out a build and buy analysis. So we really do a resource assessment. How many people do we need to actually build out the desired problem and solve the desired problem? Plus also you have to think, do we have the organizational fit for whatever we want to build, right? Do we have actually a receiving business unit eventually that can take on this piece, that can scale it further, can grow it further? Because the innovation centers or the innovation ecosystem of the companies, yes, they are a good organizational fit because they're more like a startup, they're quick, they're agile, they're nimble, but then eventually you have to bring it out actually into the wild, into your larger corporation and bring it in to one of these business units. And if those boxes are ticked, yes, then develop internally is definitely an option. Then there's the option of trade. You can, and now we're coming to the inorganic options. There's the option of trade, and that's the option basically where I say, okay, you know what? I need a resource, but I can procure it, right, in a very traditional way. I just procure the resource into my organization. I go to a supplier, go to a vendor, and just buy that in basically. I don't want to put too much emphasis on that because I would like to actually go to the partner option. Partner is something that is a very common methodology that is used because you want a certain desire, you want a certain closeness with the resource, right? In case you feel like, you know what, I just don't have, I don't think that the resources can be easily procured. I don't think I have the relevance in my resources internally to do it, but there's a partner maybe where a certain synergetic effect can set in and we can create something together that can be a certain closeness And if that is, if you have this desired closeness that you want to actually be together but not too close, just have the right amount of standalone and independence. If that is what you want, then you basically continue on the partner path. You clear the collaboration scope, right? You set a clear collaboration scope. You find compatible partners with their own goals. And then you also need to have a clear exit strategy. What happens if this partner doesn't work with you anymore or gets potentially acquired by one of your competitors? So you should have that all answered. And if you do, then you're basically on the right track to partnering, right? And then the last option that I see actually the most in my field right now, coming from M&A, is the acquire option, right? You want really have a really desired closeness to your to the business, to the acquisition, or to the problem that you want to bring in, the resource gap that you want to close, shall be really close to your business. And so the feasibility of a target firm to be integrated is one of the key drivers. Do you think the business that you want to acquire can thrive internally, can thrive in your organization? If you can answer that with yes, and the feasibility of such a merger is really high, then basically you can set on or go into the acquire mode and follow that path, right? You have to check, does it have the right business model? Does the organization fit? Do you have the right technology fit? Are you compatible to each other? Is it actually accelerating your growth? Is the incremental value that it brings, is that an expected one that really helps you thrive on your S-curve, right? And if you can answer those type of questions with yes, then basically acquire is the right path for you to actually make your business, a business, be innovative and actually take on the next growth curve. So those are options basically, or this is a process that allows you to think through various options to fill certain strategic resource gaps in order to solve a problem and to innovate, right? So not always you need to, as an innovation center, so you need to not always build things organically. You can also bring them in through inorganic innovation. So now quickly going through some engagement options of inorganic growth. So you have a certain duration of an engagement that you're looking for, right? And then you have the extent of joint decision-making that is important to you, right? If you want the extent of joint decision-making to be very very small, and the duration of the engagement actually doesn't matter, it can be a short one, then trade is the right way. If you feel that partnering, right, and the duration shall be somewhat in the middle, shall be rather on the longer side, and you want jointly a decision-making in how you shape whatever you're doing, right, however you're basically innovating together, if you want to bring that forward in a fashion, then there are multiple options. A joint venture, co-development, a minority investment is also something that is often underestimated. That is something that can be considered on a pretty frequent basis, that you think, okay, I want to actually not necessarily build this innovation myself. I don't want to buy it necessarily. I don't want to spend the cash. I'm unsure if this is going to fly. A minority investment might be a good option for you to actually think this through and bring in still innovation and help you grow this S-curve and be an innovative business, right? And then the last option really is, of course, the acquire option, as we discussed, and the duration of that is very, very long, and also the extent of decision-making is very, very high. And there are basically two options that you can do. There's the full integration, and there's the integration where basically the company that you're acquiring is more left alone. In SAP, we have done both in the past. There are those that we basically bring in more directly, those where we see there is a more synergetic effect of bring them close into one of our business units, where it makes sense that they work quickly together because we had a certain gap there. And it actually is something that works well together with an existing product. Then we tend to actually integrate more quickly and fully. However, if a business that we've acquired is something that is more adjacent, it's more a new category potentially, then it's something that we, in the majority of the time, leave more alone, have them more run in the first years, the standalone business, and then eventually have them integrate maybe later. And you already had me talk about categories. And so I think it is important from a product perspective, also think about what you're trying to solve for, right? So when trying to think about a build, buy, and partner option, you need to think about, am I interested for my innovation? Is this innovation, is it just a feature? Is it maybe a product? Is it an entire business? Or is it an entire category, right? And these drivers, when you think about it, will also guide you to a certain decision where you need to put your bet with a partner, in acquiring, or building it out, right? A feature usually is worth often building out, right? Or maybe trading in, that could be also an option. A product, you already start to be more on the point, okay, is it something where I need actually, I have the resources, I have the time and so on. Is that something that I can quickly actually build potentially, or is it something that I can acquire? Often an entire product is, in our world at least, is something that we tend to build or tend to buy. And then when it comes to businesses and categories, when we want to shape those entirely new, then those are basically things that we, in the majority of the time, try to look for. Where can we actually, if we need them rather quickly, then we try to actually buy them and try to see that we bring basically inorganic innovation through an acquisition into SAP, right? An example there could be that SAP is where we have done work with Qualtrics lately that Connie mentioned. That's where we actually wanted a totally new category. That's where we actually acquired. Same thing with SuccessFactors. That was 10, 12 years ago. That's our HR business. Also there, we had the desire to go into the cloud world. We needed to actually shape a new category there for SAP. And that's where we did an acquisition for SuccessFactors. And that really helped us set us off for our path on cloud growth. And so just to name a few. Now, however, I want to also give you, when we think about this whole build by partner mindset and the model, can we also combine things? And that's what I actually did early in my career when I did the conversational AI solution, the digital assistant solution for SAP that Connie mentioned at the beginning when she introduced me. That's where we started building out. When we started building out this product on its product life cycle, we had the desire, we knew, we did the whole research, we couldn't partner it. There was also no way to procure it because there was no other vendor out there that had the enterprise grade that we were desiring. So we said, okay, let's build out a fundamental set with our internal resources that we had that were relevant to that problem and start building the product that we wanted. So we went ahead and did the initial product definition, set out the initial product into the market, and then eventually realized, okay, we don't scale enough. And that was something that we already had discussed at the beginning of the product inception. When we started building internally, we said most likely we cannot scale fast enough towards the competition, and we might need to buy. So as we were building out the product internally and scaled the team, we were constantly looking what other vendors, what other companies out there might be relevant for us. And so we were constantly driving on a hybrid model to make sure that we can scale the product in the time frame that we had in mind and deliver the readiness and robustness that our customers desired. And so then eventually, after 1.5 years of building it and looking for the perfect fit, then we also found an organization, Recast.ai, out of France, that we eventually then acquired. And so there's also a way that you can build and buy, but you need to actively entertain that in the conversation that you have when you start building product. And that's one of the crucial pieces. So I want to leave you with one last question here that basically is, how will you innovate in the future? Will you rather be like the tanker, or will you try to be the more fast, agile, nimble speedboat that tries to innovate through multiple models, through build, buy, and partner. So I hope that you could take something away from this talk, and you will hopefully try out these various models, bring in the right teams at the right time, empower your teams early in order to have them chime in what the best option are. Often when you bring in a multidisciplinary team, you have multiple opinions, but often listening to all of them is really worthwhile and will set you on the right path towards your product innovation. So thanks for your attention, and thanks. I'm looking forward now to some questions, and if you like the talk, I'm also happy to catch up afterwards via LinkedIn or over email. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Peter, for your presentation. This is very insightful. And like Peter said, innovation is a continuous process. And here at Plug and Play, we're constantly supporting our partners in their innovation journeys. And other than the Syndio and Willis Towers Wilson case study that Connie has mentioned, we recently published another one in data analytics. Plug and Play's partner Mars Wrigley partnered with enterprise tech batch 3 startup Diana AI to improve the efficiency of Mars data analyzing and reporting process. The pilot eliminated the task of basic reporting, freeing up Mars data analysts to focus on more complex tasks and surfacing new insights to guide data-driven decision-making. And truly, that is the most beautiful part of leveraging AI. So human beings can focus on tasks that require imagination and creativity, and having machines taking over all of these mundane and repetitive tasks. And if you're interested in the details of the case studies, they're available on our website, or you can also contact me at zoe@pmptc.com. I'm happy to share. Okay, now I will kick off today, like everybody's favorite part, the startup presentations. Before we jump into the pitch session, there are a few housekeeping items. First is after each startup's presentation, we will launch a poll and ask if you'd like to connect with the startup. If you say yes, my team and I we will follow up after the event to make one-on-one introductions. The second is if you were in supply chain's morning session, it's the same setting. After the event, we will move to remote. We will have a remote networking session from 3 to 4 p.m. And all of our startups will have a virtual demo table. So please come and say hi. With that, we will kick off the startup presentations. With everything goes virtual in the past year, basically, we were able to select the top 18 startups from all over the world in HR, in big data, in operations, and cybersecurity. And I will be your captain for the Flight Enterprise Tech Batch 6. And we will travel globally in the next 19 minutes to visit our startups. And the flight is about to take off. The weather in Silicon Valley is clear and sunny. Please sit back, relaxed, and enjoy the rest of the flight. And we will start with our first destination is Stuttgart, Germany. And our first startup, Flip, is based here. The Flip Employee app is a powerful communication tool, allowing you to share top-down information in a fast and reliable manner, while enabling employees to stay in touch with one another. Please welcome Flip.
Hi everyone, I'm Anne from Flip, the app empowering every employee. With our app, we give every employee a voice, and we enable their employers to reach their entire workforce from the office to production, and that all in a fast, secure, and efficient way. We do so by combining top-down and bottom-up communication tools, such as a newsfeed and a chat, with a simple and intuitive integration in your existing HR and IT processes. Basically, you can think of Flip as the operating system for your deskless workforce. When we first started Flip, we were working in corporate jobs and basically constantly being swamped with an overload of information. We got so many emails, so many communication tools also, and at the same time we were wondering, how do our deskless colleagues communicate with each other and how do they access company news? And so we started looking into that issue, and what we found is that mostly in production, employees were still receiving their company news through the Blackboard. They were communicating with each other via private messenger tools. And in some cases, they were even receiving news from local news outlets. And secondly, HR processes turned out to be still quite paper-based and hence inefficient. So we can sum this up with a quote saying, employees of today, companies of today, use yesterday's tools to communicate with tomorrow's generation. And basically, we thought to ourselves, we have to enable companies to shift from simple top-down communication to all their employees to EEE. And what we mean with EEE is employee engagement, engage with your employees, get their feedback, and see also what's going on in the company. Employee empowerment, empower every employee and give them a voice. And lastly, to enable them to become a better version of themselves. And that will not only save you costs, but also increase your employees' efficiency. And our understanding of empowering every employee is providing you with the operating system for your deskless workforce. Flip is is the fastest way to spread information. It's very valuable, hence. We believe we are easy to use, we're quite intuitive, and for the first time you can reach every employee, and for the user it's intuitive to maneuver through the app, and we adapt to your needs and to your corporate design. And so here you can see your entire company in one app, and all that mobile first. You will have your brand, your corporate design in your app. You will be able to reach the employees via push notifications, and the user can access company information everywhere and all the time. And for you, you can also gather feedback, steer information, and kind of get a feeling of what's going on inside the company. Think of Flip as the equivalent to your Microsoft 365. So the operating system helping them, your deskless workforce, to have an easier day. And when during COVID, I want to share with you one case that we did with a local retailer. So we worked with retailers, and this specific retailer used Flip to kind of share updated hygiene measures, to share with their sales guys on the floor what's going on currently and what are the effects of the crisis. Our tool also enabled them to address specific target groups and departments with different messages. And lastly, the shift planning and staffing was simplified through Flip via the chat tool, where you can exchange directly with your coworkers and switch shifts. And currently, right now, we are already empowering our customers. Some of them might resemble to you, such as Porsche in manufacturing. We work with retailers such as Edeka and Bauhaus, or with financial institutions such as banks and insurances. And we would love to also empower you. So please don't hesitate to get in touch with me. I am Anne-Katrine Sturkel, Head of Growth with Flip, and I will gladly answer all your questions. Thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to meeting you now in the networking session.
Great. Now we have the poll up. Please take a minute to answer the question. And while you're doing that, our next stop is Zurich, Switzerland. And our startup, Starmind, is based here. During the global pandemic, Starmind has experienced unprecedented increase in usage of current client networks and a period of unforeseen growth on the new business front. Starmind contributes this traction to a massive shift where enterprises are striving to fill their employees with on-demand knowledge, consequently resulting in growth and productivity. Please welcome Starmind.
Hello, my name's Scott Fitzgerald. I'm part of Starmind's new business team, And I'm here to discuss why Starmind exists from an enterprise challenge dynamic, and also how we tackle those challenges based off of our 3 use cases. Now, firstly, employees are simply not connected. The way that organizations are structured, various business units operate independently. The connectivity between employees is a massive challenge, and ultimately knowledge sharing suffers. Also, from a regional perspective, offices and organizations operate on various continents, countries, states, and towns. That poses a challenge relating to employee connectivity and knowledge sharing as well. Thirdly, from a merger and acquisition standpoint, organizations are integrating and acquiring other companies into their portfolio. Identifying who knows what and where the subject matter experts lie is also a challenge. Consequently, companies are failing to leverage their scale by not connecting their employees in real time. There's been an interesting dynamic in terms of market cap valuation of organizations. In the mid-'80s, the largest companies were valued based off of their tangible assets, their physical equipment, their machinery, and their property. Fast forward to the 2020 era, the largest companies are valued based off of their intangible assets, their intellectual property, their patents and trademarks. We like to refer to this at Starmind as brain capital. We feel strongly that organizations know a whole heck of a lot more about their physical property. For example, my computer. They know my computer's serial number, the processing power, and the applications that run on that computer. When it comes to the employee, yes, they have a resume and CV, but do they know the skill sets that I've developed over my career? Also, when I enter that organization, what skill sets did I lack? That's what Starmind wants to focus on. So how do we overcome these challenges? We utilize AI software to capture skills. Skills are the fundamental foundation of Starmind. The 3 use cases that we deploy to overcome these challenges are: 1, we identify expert intelligence. We make expert knowledge accessible and transparent across the whole organization. This allows us to bust those silos we previously discussed and let employees participate to solve those business critical challenges and questions. Secondly, we allow employees access to undocumented intelligence. By increasing the effectiveness by allowing employees to answer repetitive questions once and make this accessible to the entire employee base, we solve this challenge of standard repeatable questions. When an employee gets onboarded, chances are they have the same questions as the previous class of onboarded employees. I just got married. How do I add my spouse to my insurance policy? Who handles PTO? These are standard repeatable questions that can be easily answered in real time by Starmind. Being that we're capturing these answers, we can build and retain a corporate knowledge pool and capture the know-how before employees leave and go to competitors, but also riding off into the sunset of retirement. Thirdly, the most recent use case is developing talent intelligence. We identify skill gaps on an organizational and employee level and allow L&D teams to build targeted learning plans based off of those skill maps. This is an example of our current customer, Fortune 20 organization that's connected over 214 remote sites. We've driven 354 million euro increase in efficiency, saved 1.2 million hours in productivity, and garnered a 4.7 out of 5 user rating feedback. This depiction on the right shows how we've connected over 200 departments to contribute to those business critical questions and identifying subject matter experts. I want to leave you with this. Starmind wholeheartedly believes that employees are the most valuable asset an organization has. Speed to knowledge and expertise is paramount aspect of maximizing productivity and ultimately revenue. If you're interested in learning more, I look forward to chatting with you at the next Plug and Play event. Thank you.
All right, up next we have RemoteHQ. RemoteHQ enables remote teams to collaborate internally and externally with customers as if they're in the same room. Think of it as your virtual office where you can do a lot more than just video conference and screen share. Many of their customers use it to power team meetings, stand-ups, sales pitches, and customer support, training, and many, many other use cases. Today here we have the CEO of RemoteHQ, Wykit, to tell us a little bit more of their offering.
Hi, my name is Wykit Lau. I'm the CEO and co-founder of RemoteHQ. RemoteHQ is a collaboration software platform. We enable teams to work together as if they are in the same office. We're frictionless. We do not require any download. We're entirely browser-based. If you think about today's collaboration tools, everyone lives on Zoom or WebEx or Google Meet. They're all about communications, right? Everyone is using primarily video conferencing and screen share. That's a 30-year-old invention, but they don't really reflect how people truly work when people are in a physical office together. And that is what we do. We essentially allow people to mimic and replicate all the collaboration modalities that they used to have when they were in the same office, but we enable them virtually and remote. I'll show you how and what we do in a second in a demo. So I'm going to now show you RemoteHQ in action between two people. But first, let me orient you. All you're going to see is happening in the RemoteHQ room. So what is a RemoteHQ room? A RemoteHQ room is essentially a container where you can video chat, you can audio chat, you can bring all your apps and team tools and files that you collaborate over into that room and work together. Here you can see we're opening a Google Doc natively within RemoteHQ, loading it so both of us can collaborate directly while video chatting. So everything in one page is very convenient. At the same time, you can also load multiple apps within a page. So everything, again, is very streamlined. So we've loaded up a Figma board and our Google Doc, and we can relay out, resize, customize the layout as we like while we're working together synchronously. We've also just opened up a Notes app while we're taking notes and collaborating. One of the major superpowers we have is the ability to turn any website instantly collaborative. Using our shared browser app, we've loaded up a Trello board. Now, Trello board inherently isn't collaborative in real time, but with our shared browser magic sauce, we have essentially turned it from single player into a multiplayer mode where both of us can control it at the same time with one click. With this technology, we can essentially turn any website or any web application instantly collaborative, whether the application itself is collaborative or not. We also allow you to save your work and your apps for future sessions. That way, when you come back the next time, you can pick it up where you left off. Last but not least, all the work that you have done and the session history are automatically saved to our cloud, so you can have easy access for reference down the road. Number of use cases for RemoteHQ. The most obvious ones are around internal collaboration and stand-ups. Teams using us have reported 30+% in terms of improvement in time save and efficiencies. Second use case is around sales. The ability to run a sales pitch, load up a presentation, and then do a demo walkthrough, at the end of which, by giving control of the demo with one click to the prospect, that has been really compelling, and we've seen customers of ours have seen improvements in conversion and win rates. The last one is around support. The ability to jump into a RemoteHQ room, have the customer show you what the issue is, and then being able to take over control of the customer's web app and to resolve the issue have actually shortened time to ticket resolution quite a bit. Our platform is very secure. We are fully encrypted end-to-end in flight as well as at rest. There are multiple layers of security around room access. The company is founded back in 2017. Our team is located all around the world. We come from a number of large companies as well as successful startups and institutions such as MIT. We're funded by tier 1 investors and angel investors such as Jack Dorsey. We have users and customers from around the world. Here's a sampling of some of our customers. It cuts across different sizes and different industries. Our ask, if you're interested in trialing us, we'd love to pilot with you. Here's my contact.
Great. Again, please let us know if you would love to meet with RemoteHQ. We're happy to make introductions. Oh, I see a lot of people are voting. Okay, that's wonderful. And next we're heading to Israel. GleanLabs is based in Tel Aviv. It is an automatic employee competency platform for large organizations. And the problem a lot of large companies have is the lack of adequate data about their employees' skills, knowledge, and experience. And thus they cannot really operate and plan in an agile, data-driven, and effective manner. So by gleaning and analyzing data from operational and collaboration systems, tech employees, they use these every day on a daily basis. Glean's algorithms can automatically identify and continuously upgrade these competencies in the company. GleanLabs, they work with a lot of well-known companies, and here's a testimonial from their client, Walmart, and then the founder, Eric, will walk us through their solutions.
Hi, my name is Sammy Kibra. I'm a director at Walmart. I focus on data analytics for the enterprise. And one of the areas that I am working on is actually looking at the largest employee base within the world. So Walmart has 2.3 million employees, and the tools and the capabilities that Glean actually provides is going to drive huge value for Walmart. Being able to determine a capability matrix based on people, locations, and skill sets is going to drive huge value, not only in terms of being able to connect the appropriate employees together, but also to connect them to the appropriate projects and leaders so that we can accelerate on a lot of our internal projects as a whole. And so our ongoing partnership with Glean is going to be very important to accelerate those initiatives.
Hi. I'm Arik Waldman, co-founder and CEO of GleanLabs, and we automatically map the skills, knowledge, and experience of tech employees in large organizations. You might be familiar with Clark Kent, who works as a reporter for the Daily Planet. His supervisors are not aware of all of his skills, so they give him tasks that match the skills they think he has, and so they really underutilize what they could be doing with Clark. They don't know Clark has super speed, so they're not going to send him to cover an event to which the reporter needs to get faster than a speeding bullet. And if they're looking for somebody with super strength, they're going to waste a lot of time and money recruiting somebody from the outside, even though they have supermen in-house. But we can't really blame Clark's supervisors because we too often don't know who knows what, who does what, and who's skilled at what across the organization. Large companies simply don't have that kind of data about their employees. And without that type of knowledge about your greatest resource and largest expense, companies cannot really operate and plan in an agile, data-driven, and efficient manner. Companies have been investing millions of dollars trying to solve this, but current methodologies have failed. What we typically see is months over months of meetings of committees of managers that come up with 10 or 50 or 100 skills they think they should map all of the employees by. Then they send surveys, asking employees to manually self-assess their own skills, which most employees don't bother doing. Other companies will have somebody sit individually with each employee, which is huge overhead, or pay consulting companies millions of dollars to essentially do the same things. And this entire process can take as long as 2 years to complete. But when developers need to completely redevelop their skill set every 12 to 18 months, it's easy to see why that just doesn't work. So most companies gave up on doing competency mapping. The problem is that today, more than ever, companies need to understand what their capabilities are, both on an individual and on an organizational level, to remain competitive and productive. And this is where we come in. Glean automatically maps tech competencies in the organization based on evidence, the actual work done. Our solution is dynamic and continuously updating, taking into account both the frequent trends and changes in the market, as well as employee development. And the way that it works is Glean integrates with the company's operational and collaboration systems used by tech employees on a daily basis. GitHub, Jira, Slack, Confluence, really whatever the system may be. And then from non-private data on actual work and processes taking place, our machine learning algorithms can extract and map the competencies in the company. The beauty is that employees and managers don't need to do anything. Glean creates and updates everything automatically while they just do their jobs as they would anyway. And this has a lot of applications. For example, say that for an important project, I'm looking for a developer with a specific skill set and domain expertise. With Glean, I can instantaneously find the most relevant people across the company based on objective and comparable parameters. We can do that because Glean automatically creates a profile for every tech employee, developer, data scientist, IT, QA, analyst, etc., and shows a snapshot of the projects they worked on, domain knowledge, skills. Over time, employees keep working, keep using the systems, and Glean keeps updating their profile as employees evolve, work on new projects, learn new skills, and more. Beyond the individual level insights, Glean can also provide insights on an aggregated level that could be used in more managerial and strategic decisions. For example, a company we talked with made a strategic decision at the C-level management to move their core product from offering it on-prem to offering it in the cloud. And the VP R&D and VP HR couldn't tell whether the workforce had the necessary capabilities to make that transition. With Glean, you can actually have a view at the company level in a particular domain or subdomain and really understand what your organizational capabilities are. What's the depth of expertise? What's the distribution? And then you can make that type of strategic decision based on actual objective data. And this is really the value proposition that we bring to the table. The insights from Glean could be used in a variety of processes, from strategic processes like workforce planning to operational processes like project staffing, down to individual employee processes like learning and development, upskilling, expert finder, internal mobility, and more. We help companies transform these processes from expensive guesswork into data-driven decision-making. We're working with companies with at least 500 tech employees, as you can tell by some of our customers that appear in this slide. We're helping them do more with their existing tech workforce, and we'll be happy to work with you and help you there too. Please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you very much.
Again, if you would like to connect with a startup, please answer the poll question, or afterwards on the remote networking session, all of them have a demo table that you can visit and say hi and ask questions if you have any. I hope you have enjoyed the trip so far. Our next group of startups, they're focused on big data, which is one of the focus areas in the enterprise tech program. And we will start with Primer. Primer is a San Francisco-based, well-funded Series B company focused on providing bleeding-edge machine learning solutions. Please welcome Barry from Primer.
Hi, this is Barry Dauber. I run business development and commercial sales at Primer, a machine intelligence company headquartered in San Francisco, where we work with some of the largest customers and Fortune 50 companies in the world. Our mission is to close the intelligence gap. There's more data than ever before and more unstructured text content than humans can get their arms around. So what we do is enable humans to structure, surface, and summarize all of that content using our platform. So how do you close that intelligence gap? By using technology. So how do we do that? We structure that content. We take that very unstructured data and put it into a structured format. So how do you find the people, places, locations, all that information that matters to that individual? We make that available, ripping it out from the unstructured world. We summarize it. We compress large chunks of data, hundreds, thousands, millions of documents into simple, easy to read, human readable, computer generated outputs. And we surface the information that matters. As a machine learning company, we can surface that content that a human would take hours, days to find in a matter of seconds, and by doing it at scale. So instead of looking at tens or hundreds of documents in a day, you can start to look at thousands across your entire enterprise. We do this in a number of industries, including national security, finance, pharmaceutical, retail, looking at analysts and knowledge workers across those enterprises for a myriad of different use cases. Let me show you an example of how we can do this. So I'm going to take this article from CNN, and put it into this demo experience, which looks at one document and will rip apart that document to give me a new title, a new summary. We'll do all the named entity recognition, as well as all those relationships. So with no prior knowledge of any of this information, this system is ripping apart that one single document and making sense of it for me so I can make quick and easy decisions to go brief my boss, generate a morning briefing, or make some sort of decision. Automatically generates new titles, topics identified, different types of summaries from extractive, semi-abstractive, and the holy grail of summarization, abstractive. So with no prior knowledge of anything outside of this one document, our system is automatically generating a completely new derivative summary that doesn't exist anywhere within that briefing or in that article. Really, really transformational in the summarization space. And then on the named entity recognition, we're pulling out all those people, locations, organizations, miscellaneous, and then also assigning how are those people related to each other, their employers, and anything else that we can identify within that content. Again, no other prior knowledge. So in this case, you see the first one, Sanjay Gupta is the CNN chief medical correspondent, his employer is CNN. So this is how we do it at a single document level. Let's see how we can do it at a multi-document level. So I'm moving over to a different platform, and I'm going to do just a simple search for Apple. Immediately, our system knows that Apple's an entity, in this case, an organization, not the fruit, because I want to do a search on the iPhone maker. So it'll take a couple of seconds. I'm looking through 1 million documents a day from 30 to 40,000 global sources. So immediately, in a couple of seconds, the system returns back all of those documents that match my query and assembles those documents together. So in this case, we have an event. Apple blocks Microsoft's xCloud gaming service for iOS users. What this system did was automatically synthesize across Forbes, New York Times, and 165 more documents. There were 181 of them being unique because we deduplicate, synthesize, and summarize that content to surface what's meaningful. So we can dive into this and say, here's the summary of that information or this event based on all of these documents that our system automatically read and wrote for you. And then we, again, take all of that very unstructured text data and put it into a structured format. So what are the numbers, quotes, people? Are there any organizations talking about this event, as well as locations? And we do this at both the event level and the query level. Another cool thing that we do is, how do you start to piece together a storyline or different events and how they transpired over time? And in this case, you can see immediately something's happening with India, Apple iPhone, and new iPhones. And this is using unsupervised machine learning to find those topics or areas of interest that I should be paying attention to. And this query is just going back over the last week, but you can see Huawei top Samsung and smartphone shipments, and for the first time, going all the way through to Apple launches a new 27-inch iMac with fast Intel processors. Very, very quickly, with no prior knowledge of any of this information, our system, again, is surfacing, structuring, and summarizing vast quantities of unstructured text data and putting that into an easily identifiable place for you to use in a user interface, programmatically via APIs, or outputs in other ways. Thank you.
Great. Next, we have dotData. dotData is a leading AI platform that enables business intelligence and analytics teams to build AI and to make predictive dashboards and applications with zero coding or even without any data scientists. dotData has been recognized as a leader of AI automation platform by Forrester and also recognized as best machine learning platform by the AI Breakthrough Awards. Let's welcome dotData.
Good morning, everyone. This is Ryohei Fujimaki, CEO and founder at dotData. dotData is AI automation platform that enables you to deliver your AI project just in days with no coding and even without data scientists. If you don't have a large data science team and want to leverage your existing teams like BI teams to do AI and predictive analysis, dotData is a solution that you are looking for. This is a problem we solve, the conventional AI project at enterprise. AI process starts from collecting data from different business systems, like a traditional data warehouse or just CSV files. You store data not for AI, but for business. That's why you have to always unify information from different sources, cleansing, wrangling, architecting data, and put your domain knowledge to discover useful patterns to make your data ready for machine learning. Then, once data is prepared, you have to carefully tune different machine learning algorithms to achieve the best performance and build a predictive dashboard or intelligent and automated decision-making systems. Traditional process often take months to complete, so enterprise AI project has been never fast enough. And more importantly, only high-skilled data scientists can develop AI models, so you cannot scale the practice, or even many enterprises are still struggling to start AI project because they don't have data scientists. This is how dotData AI automation changes the process. dotData automates the entire process, including collecting, cleansing, or wrangling data, and even without putting domain knowledge, our AI engine is going to discover and explore useful patterns and data insight. This is why dotData is very different from any other AI and machine learning platforms, because it is only dotData that can completely automate the most heavy lifting data wrangling, cleansing, and feature engineering process. And of course, dotData automatically optimizes the machine learning algorithm for you. This is called automated machine learning or AutoML component. Typically, our process takes only a few hours to complete, and you can shorten the project turnaround from months of traditional AI process to now days with dotData. This is the power of dotData platform. You can execute your AI project 10 times faster, and even your existing team, like a BI team, can run your AI project because all complex parts of the process are handled by dotData. This significantly accelerates the implementation of your AI to your business and also save a lot of time and cost, as you can imagine. The way to use dotData is extremely simple. You first load the data based on drag and drop or just connect with your business system. This is nothing fancy. Step 2, this is where our magic happens. There's no SQL, no Python, no R, or even you don't need a visual programming to draw complex data manipulation flow. You just need to tell what you want to predict and which data set you want to use. Based on this simple information, dotData is going to take care of all this complex heavy lifting process from the beginning to the end automatically for you. After some computation, dotData make your AI models ready to make your dashboard more predictive and make your business system more automated and more intelligent. Let me introduce a quote from our customer. Hundreds of AI models are making intelligent decisions using dotData every day, resulting in 2.5 times conversion rate. This is a quote from World Top 5 Global Property and Casualty Insurance, and they build an intelligent policy recommendation system. Before dotData, the policy sales relies on the intuition or experience of sales individuals. But now with dotData, they developed hundreds of AI models to identify the right product for the right customer in the right context. And those hundreds of AI models are supporting their sales team every day. By the way, they took only a few months to develop these models. That is very, very impressive outcomes. Another quote, dotData built sales forecasting models that were 70% more accurate than our benchmark, all in just a few hours with zero coding and no data scientist. Convergent technology is leading integrator and service provider of building security systems. Due to the COVID, their physical business has got big impact, and they are now using dotData to accelerate their digital transformation. I want to emphasize that dotData users at Convergent are mostly BI and IT folks and had no AI experience before dotData. But as this quote said, it was just a matter of hours for them to build a very accurate sales forecasting model. This is the end of my presentation. We are offering free proof of concept and trial, so let us prove our value to your business. Thank you very much for your attention.
Great. If you would like to connect with dotData, please answer it here on the poll. And here we have MachEye. MachEye has some exciting news to share. They were recently named a 2020 Gartner Cool Vendor, and they were also recognized in 3 Gartner Hype Cycles: Analytics and Business Intelligence, Customer Experience Analytics, and Consumer Engagement with Healthcare and Wellness. Let's check out MachEye.
Hello everyone, my name is Dhiren Patel and I am the Chief Customer Officer of MachEye. MachEye is a Silicon Valley-based startup that is backed by some of the tier 1 venture capital firms. MachEye is creating a BI solution that is fundamentally different. It is AI powered and it incorporates certain consumer technology components such as natural search and interactive audio visuals. Recently, we got nominated as a cool vendor by Gartner. Before I show you the demo, let me just articulate the business problem first. Let's imagine a business user who is trying to estimate how many lawn chairs he should be ordering this year. In a traditional sense, he will have one of these 2 options. He will go to one of the existing reports and find this insight, or he will go to his business analyst or data analyst and do some custom analysis. The custom analysis would require them to pull some data from one of these existing data sources, do some visualization, do some historical analysis, and present that analysis to business user. There will be some back and forth in this process that it may take days, weeks, or months. For the business user to find one of the existing reports is also not going to be easy simply because there are thousands or maybe tens of thousands of reports in any organization. So what are the problems? The business decisions are very slow because every insight requires business user to go back and find that insight from a pile of reports, or would require some kind of a custom analysis. Secondly, AI and machine learning is very important, but most of those insights are siloed and are not available at the point of decision making. And thirdly, most of the legacy platforms are extremely difficult to use, and as a result of that difficulty, there is lack of usage of those platforms, resulting into low return on investment on those platforms. So how do we solve this problem? In our case, the business user will simply ask a question in English language in a search box. How many lawn chairs should I order this year? We will give an answer immediately, 100,000 chairs. But based on the question that he asked, we will also give recommendations. In this case, we will say that 56% of those chairs were sold in Southern California, 38% of those transactions had table along with chairs. And if you go with certain vendor, your margins would be 1.8% better. While we generate recommendations, we will also trigger machine learning models to the extent necessary and required. We will present these insights as charts. We will also create English language narrations, but more importantly, we also create audio visuals, which will narrate these insights to the business user. So what are the benefits? In our case, you can, for every insight, for every additional question that you have, you don't need any kind of a custom analysis. You can simply ask questions the way you do Google search. We also integrate AI and machine learning as part of insight generation process. As a result, those vital insights that are offered by machine learning will be available at the point of decision making. And finally, given the interactive audio visuals that we are offering, the insight consumption process can be fun. BI and analytics can finally be fun. Let me show you a quick demo now. So for the purpose of this demo, I'm using sales data. So let me just type a simple question here. As I type my question, it shows me suggestions. So what just happened here? I asked a question in English language. We created that English language question into SQL. We went back to your data source. We found the answer. We chose the appropriate visualization and presented that on the screen. You can change your visualization to bar chart, donut chart, data table. Besides, we also created this English language blurb here. In our case, in this product, you don't need specialized resources or special effort to create dashboards. All you have to do is to keep asking questions. If you want to create a dashboard or save this chart to a dashboard, all you do is to pin it to a dashboard. More importantly, you see this play icon. Let me click on that.
Hi there. Want to delve deeper into bottles sold by state? Let's get started. The total bottles sold during last 24 months is over 39 million across 55 account states in.
Let me pause here. So this video, interactive audio video, was created in real time. There is no curated video. We created it real time based on the question that the user asked. So this is the summary scene. This is the question that we are narrating that was originally asked by the user. You can pause this, you can fast forward, you can mute it. It's very interactive. Here it shows that there are additional insights that you will find. So let's keep playing for a few more seconds.
Sale transactions. The analysis is performed on sale transactions across 55 account states with an overall average of 710,000.
I'll take a pause here. So original question was bottles sold by state, but within the context of this analysis, the product will trigger machine learning algorithm. In this case, we have triggered an anomaly detection algorithm, and it has found that there are certain states which have got an anomalous behavior in terms of bottles sold. So this is how we integrate machine learning as part of insight generation process. Over a period of time, you can keep searching and asking questions, but over a period of time, what will happen is rather than you searching for those insights, the insights will come to you. So in this case, this is how your headlines will look like. This is similar to your YouTube screen. So you can do a search on YouTube, but over a period of time, the recommendations will come to you. So in this case, the business user, based on his prior usage of the product, will start getting this audiovisual as insights or suggestions as part of his headlines. Thank you.
Great. We will now move on to a group of startups in operation, and we will start with Vymo. Vymo is a mobile and web-based application that addresses the future of selling in financial services. Vymo offers a virtual sales assistant, which can be your CRM or complement an existing one that makes it easier for your sales representatives to book more meetings, build more pipelines, and spend less time entering data into your CRM. They are funded by Emergency and Sequoia Capital. Please welcome Vymo.
Hi, my name is Steve, and I'm going to be talking to you about Vymo. I'll provide you a brief overview of the solution and then show you a quick demo. So Vymo is a digital personal sales assistant created to help sales and service teams prioritize and schedule their day by telling sellers what to do next based on what's most important. And our solution is deployed with 60 firms and more than 100,000 salespeople globally. So we've deployed Vymo for financial service companies, B2B networks, and any enterprise that has sales teams that are distributed. So that translates to almost every business in today's current environment, with remote teams now the norm. We complement many core policy administration, order management, and CRM systems, can work as a standalone solution or layer on top of enterprise systems to create an easy user experience and increase adoption for clunkier siloed system, and really free your sellers to focus on what they do best, getting excited about and presenting and selling your products. Vymo has been designed in 3 layers with 3 sets of users in mind. Vymo Assistant is created for sellers, which answers the question, what are my sales goals and how do I translate that to my engagement plans and activities? Vymo Coach, the second layer, is designed specifically for managers. So live updates allow managers to see activities and engagement as they're happening, and then create preemptive coaching strategies and intervention when it's most important, rather than looking at reports at the end of the week or month. The third layer, Vymo Saber, is designed for leaders to be able to shape sales behaviors to produce desired outcomes. So this allows leaders to see what the best sellers are doing and then replicate those behaviors across the rest of the team. In the end, Vymo is about outcomes. Adoption among typical CRMs is around 20 to 30%, yet we usually see 85% or higher with our customers. So the goal is to create usable data so we can surface insights to make the sales process easier and less reactive. And we typically work 4 to 6 weeks in a POC environment to ensure that we translate key metrics into meaningful impact. Here's a quick look at some of the awards that we've won. Gartner named Vymo a cool vendor in 2017 and 18 in the area of sales productivity. We raised $23 million through venture capital firms Emergence and Sequoia. Emergence was one of our initial investors in 2016 and are also backers of Salesforce and the largest investor in Zoom. So now I'm going to give you a brief look at the application in a live format. Let me quickly just share my screen from my phone here. And this is a live view of my phone, but we have the same capabilities available in a desktop version as well. So we'll start at the home screen. Then for the purpose of this demo, we'll use a relationship manager or customer management use case where those individuals will be able to quickly see all the businesses or people that they manage. So we'll scroll down here and click on accounts. And we can see that our contacts are grouped by their potential here on the left-hand side. And we have platinum, gold, and silver tiering, but this is totally configurable. The idea here is that relationships are built on engagement and understanding the production potential of your clients and prospects so that you can better manage your daily routines and really focus on the most important customers and sales priorities. So as we dig a little deeper into one of the profiles, we can see business potential very quickly. We can see a graphical representation of key metrics like net new premiums, the actual number in red, the business potential in black, and where I stand in relation to meeting those goals. Similarly, we see performance around renewal ratios. And these graphics could represent other metrics as well. But the idea is really the availability of information quickly and easily, and then streamlining those flows. If I wanted to call this business or individual, again, just one touch, I'm immediately prompted after the call showing the length of the call, and then can add notes in the moment. I'll do that here. Call went well, please schedule a follow-up. So again, when information is at top of the mind, it then can easily schedule a new follow-up activity, can create a meeting, send collateral. You see I'm immediately prompted for that. I'll skip over that now, but all completed activities as well are stored in one place within the customer profile. You can see the call I just made here for 4 seconds, any notes associated with that, and the call details would automatically be recorded back into your CRM as well. As I scroll down, I'm able to see other important details that may need to be addressed for this customer. So whether it be upcoming renewals or service requests, for instance. Again, the most important issue is to increase customer satisfaction and win deals. So here's a really cool part. Once activities are recorded, the app surfaces critical information through next best action nudges. So we can see here that 75% quote to bind rate, setup call to discuss, effective application screening. This could be upcoming renewals, pending service requests. But again, the high priority nudges and the issues that need to be addressed are being surfaced. I can also go to the home screen and see this same type of next best action menu as I scroll through them here. Again, on the basis of my entire account or book of business. So service contract renewal, activation, onboarding problem, new prospecting opportunity, everything is also synced with your Outlook or Gmail calendar. Lastly, as I know we're short on time here, you see some goals here at the top where I stand in relation to those, but this is a backlog section to quickly understand what hasn't been addressed, like sending collateral, recertification, customer service issues, depending on business needs and the use case. So the whole idea is for your producers and managers to be able to know what activities are most critical for their team's success and be able to act on those ideas in the moment without analyzing or manually recording a lot of data. So in the end, they're really left to maximize the opportunity in the most effective form of engagement for the accounts and customers that they manage. If you'd like to find out more about Vymo, contact Zoe and she can put you in touch with myself or someone else here at Vymo. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Steven. So it's not Vymo, it's Vymo, and it's also not Venmo. It's VYMO. Vymo. Okay, great. Please vote. And next we have Oloid. Oloid is actually, they're based in Sunnyvale. Their office is actually at Plug and Place buildings on our second floor. And they were recently, they were the editor's pick for the most promising AI company in the physical security category by Brains Behind AI. And they're also an Inc. 5,000 company that has been witnessing highly accelerated growth and demand since they added the pandemic safety features to their platform. And they have recently closed an oversubscribed round of financing in which Plug and Play Ventures also participated. Congratulations, Oloid, and welcome.
My name is Mohit Garg, and I'm the CEO of Oloid AI, a computer vision-based physical identity platform for workplace safety and security. We are working with some of the top brands from manufacturing, construction, supply chain, and healthcare industries with over 100,000 active users on our platform. The Oloid team comprises of tech veterans from Apple, Cisco, Aruba Networks, and IBM. Since earlier this year, we've been working with a large number of employers with contagion safety and return to work programs. Before adopting Oloid, these companies were using manual methods for safety screening and access control. This presented risk of virus exposure to the health screener and additional personnel costs. With Oloid, employers are able to automate their manual processes such as these by letting our AI perform the security and safety screening. Examples of applications built on Oloid platform are facial authentication-based access control and clocking, QR code-based health questionnaire capture, and thermal imaging-based automated temperature screening. Oloid integrates with standard IP cameras and tablets on the front end, and our pre-built integrations with backend IT, HR, and security systems makes it very easy to download our apps and deploy rule-based policies and actions. Let us look at a few example applications and the demo of our product in action. Oloid's Certify application captures and converts the response to questions about health symptoms and travel history into a QR code. Employees or visitors can generate this QR code at their home computer or on their smartphones. Oloid assesses the risk score and generates a red or green QR code. This QR code can then be scanned at entry points, and if a red QR code is scanned, it can generate alerts over SMS or email, which can be directed to safety and security teams. Additionally, this process can be strengthened with automated temperature scanning with thermal cameras. Instead of a health screener pointing a forehead thermometer, Oloid's computer vision AI is able to scan the thermal images of the face with elevated temperature. As you can see in this video, this is a quick, safe, and contactless process. Oloid assesses the thermal image, and if the temperature is found to be elevated, it can generate alerts. This removes the need for a health screener to be present at every point, which can cost up to $75 to $100 an hour. With Oloid's integration with access control, the safety screening can also be used to gate turnstiles or door access. As you can see in this videos, the turnstiles and doors can be unlocked once the safety screening, temperature scan, and facial authentication is performed automatically. The safety and security checks can also be introduced into the time clocking process. As opposed to requiring hourly workers to first go to the safety screening checkpoint and then come back to the time clocks, Oloid's integrations with time and attendance systems such as Kronos and ADP allows safety screening to be integrated into the day of the life of the worker. Oloid has been working with Fortune 500 manufacturer Flex for providing contactless clocking and access control for thousands of workers at multiple factories and warehouses.
It's a growing partnership. It's definitely growing, and it's not like I don't see it. I see it expanding because, I mean, touchless is, it was actually before COVID, to be honest, right? I think the vision is, for me, was always going passwordless. I want to get rid of passwords as much as I can. I think it's more convenient for the user. The only thing you really have to stick on is privacy, and you have to be very clear and transparent to your employees what you're using the data for. I think that's the one thing I really learned. I'm transparent. I don't need to dance around this one. I said, this is what we use the data for. And then you have to make sure this is really what you're committing to, right? So, but yeah, it's an expanding relationship. During the COVID crisis, it took us a while, and now I think everyone is looking forward now to get it going forward with it. I mean, I get really, really good. The users are really happy with the solution, right? I mean, for them, it makes their life easier. I mean, that's a simplification for the users and for the employees. I think it's an important part as well.
Similarly, one of the largest construction companies in North America, PCL Constructions, is leveraging Oloid to enable contactless access control and temperature scanning at their work sites. Oloid is an important part of the safety at work programs at PCL and Flex and several other large employers. Oloid has a very strong ROI. While it is hard to estimate the incredibly high cost that could result from bad PR and lawsuits from contagion outbreak at the workplace, the reduction in physical security risk, theft, and buddy swiping itself pays for the Oloid solution. We are looking for an opportunity to work with your IT, EHS, facilities, and security teams to implement POCs that can demonstrate how Oloid can streamline safety and security at your sites and reduce significant costs. We're also keen to make relationships with corporate venture teams that could enable strategic partnership opportunities and potentially participate in our future fundraise. We thank you for your time and look forward to speaking with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mohit. And we will move on to Hyperscience. Hyperscience is an intelligent document processing company that classifies and extracts data from documents using machine learning and human-in-the-loop elements. Hyperscience has built and trained machine learning models to deliver 80 to 95% automation with over 99% accuracy from day one. Please welcome Hyperscience.
Hi everyone, my name is Whitney LeClaire and I am a partner manager with Hyperscience. Hyperscience is the automation company that partners with Global 2000s, including TD Ameritrade, QBE Insurance Group, and Voya Financial, as well as government organizations around the world to build and run mission-critical processes with ease and speed. At our core, we classify documents and extract data from those documents using machine learning and human-in-the-loop elements. Hyperscience was founded in 2014 with our focus being on the product. We went to market in 2018 and have gained quite a bit of traction in just over 2 years. We have offices in New York City, which is where our headquarters are located, as well as London and Sofia, Bulgaria. Today, Hyperscience is a Series C company with $110 million raised to date. On the right-hand side, you'll see some of our accolades. Hyperscience was named a major contender by the Everest Group, as well as a 2019 Gartner Cool Vendor. Here you'll see some of our key market sectors where we have had early success and early adoption: insurance, financial services, and government. And across the bottom, you'll also see some of our earliest, most successful use cases. Here's a look at 2 of the most common business challenges that there haven't been a fix for thus far. The first is manual data entry. Manual data entry results in lower client satisfaction, lost revenue, increased risk, higher operating costs, and underutilized talent. The second challenge is with legacy OCR system performance. OCR systems are unable to read handwriting, they can't process low-quality documents, and they lack performance improvement over time. Hyperscience is machine learning based, so we'll continue to improve our performance over time, unlike these existing tools. So why do our clients choose Hyperscience? Here are a few of our key differentiators. 1, we're able to ingest complex documents, whether they are a combination of type and text, they are low quality with fax burns or possible skews. That is something that our machine will be able to handle with no problem. Again, we continue to improve our performance over time as we continue to ingest and extract from more and more documents. Today, we are delivered on-premise, whether that is in a private cloud or actually on-prem. We do have a SaaS offering that will be released in early 2021. And finally, we were built for the business users. There's really no development required. There is no need for an IT team to be in control. This is something that a business user will be able to use on day one. Here's a diagram of how Hyperscience works. If you follow from left to right, the end user inputs a document into the machine. The machine then classifies the document and prepares to extract the data. The client would then set the accuracy rate that they're looking to achieve, and if the machine is not confident in what it's extracting, it will send out that field for what we call supervision. This is the human in the loop element to Hyperscience. The human will then transcribe what was in the field and that the machine had raised its hand on and sends that data back to the machine. From there, the machine will push the extracted data out in a JSON format. For the stars that you see on the left and right-hand side for input and output, we have flexible integration options or connectors, whether it be a REST API, a message queue, or an RPA system like UiPath and Blue Prism. This here shows the types of documents that we're able to extract and classify. Starting on the right-hand side, today, Hyperscience is only able to classify an unstructured document, for example, a lease agreement or a legal document. We are not extracting any data or information from an unstructured document. Where we play extremely well is with structured documents where there is no change in field location. So for example, a W-9 tax form, as well as semi-structured documents, which is defined as having a change in both field location and field nomenclature. A good example is a bill of lading or an invoice that a customer would receive. Here is a brief case study from TD Ameritrade, who is one of our earliest and largest clients. TD Ameritrade acquired Scottrade and needed to run a compliance exercise that had an accuracy requirement of 99.5%. The compliance exercise also needed to be completed within 6 months of the acquisition. There was over 1 million account opening documents that were handwritten and scanned in, so the quality was extremely poor. In order to do the exercise, TD Ameritrade was going to need to add on an additional 60 data entry heads and use a legacy OCR system. Ultimately, when the exercise was kicked off, the OCR tool was not able to handle the poor quality of the documents or the handwritten text on the forms. Hyperscience was brought in, and on day one, we were able to automate 80% of the work with that 99.5% accuracy requirement. After 3 months, our machine had grown more confident on TD Ameritrade's forms and was able to achieve 95% automation. As a result, TD Ameritrade achieved 4 times throughput, doubled their processing speed, reallocated 50% of their existing data keyers, and did not have the need to hire those 60 additional heads that they had budgeted for.
Hello, everybody. We're just letting you know from PMP that Zoe is experiencing some technical difficulties. She will be on in just a moment. For now, we will have our next speaker up. They will go ahead and speak, and once Zoe's back on, she will give her proper introduction.
Hi, everyone. My name's Tuhin Chakraborty, and I'm the CEO of Mimica, where we automate the deployment of robotic process automation using artificial intelligence. So at Mimica, we think of RPA like juicing lemons. You have thousands of lemons, thousands of opportunities for automation across the business, but actually getting the juice out of these lemons is very manual and very expensive. It takes a really long time to find the best opportunities And then even once you've kind of painstakingly picked the best ones, actually building the juicer for this lemon to get the juice out of it, it's going to take a business analyst and an RPA developer months and months to do that. And under the hood, what's happening are these cycles of conversations between the SME, the business analyst, the RPA developer. Anybody that has deployed RPA before is going to recognize this picture with great familiarity, because it takes months and months to do this process. So the point is, we need better tools. Right now, we hire more people, we hire more business analysts, more developers. Sometimes we pay consultants millions of dollars to come into the business and do this work for us. And with Mimica, we recognized an opportunity there. We built software that automates the deployment of RPA. And our secret sauce is we record what the employee does on the computer. That's all you need to do. All the data, all the information that you need to build the bot is right there in the process. So with Mimica, we record the process over a period of time, and we generate metrics, maps, everything you need to build an automation, and it dramatically reduces the amount of time it takes to get a bot into production. How much? 75%. That's what we've shown at our clients like Citi and Dell, where instead of taking 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, with Mimica, you can get a bot into production in weeks. So how does that work? Well, first, you can use Mimica to prioritize thousands of business processes. So you can take the Mimica recorder and put it on 5,000 people's computers and figure out, what they're doing, where the repetitive opportunities for automation are, and where you're going to get the highest ROI. And because we can generate blueprints for the bot, bots built with Mimica get built way faster. So instead of 20 bots that you're thinking about deploying next year, with Mimica, you could easily deploy 80 or more. So that's an incremental value of about $7 million from 115,000 additional hours that your RPA program is going to bring back to the business next year. Of course, we use machine learning, we use artificial intelligence. Some of the key technologies that feature in the product are computer vision, natural language processing, unsupervised clustering, but there are a lot of different kinds of technologies that we use. Fundamentally, what's happening is we're recording what employees do on their computers, the clicks and keystrokes that they're performing in the process, and using that data to figure out where there's repetition, where there's opportunity for automation, where the highest ROI opportunities are. And then, unique to Mimica is that we actually generate the blueprint for the RPA. That's really critical because it shortens the entire life cycle end to end, which is what allows users to get significantly more bots into production when they use Mimica. And of course, that's when the value gets created. Just to give an example, we analyzed a stock price research process for a major US bank earlier this year. They have about 15 employees doing the process, annual spend of $250,000. And we recorded the process, and even after just a week, we were able to figure out what percentage of the process is automatable, how much time was spent in the different transactions, and we actually generated a process map that contained everything needed for a developer to build an automation. Every step in the process, of course, but for every step, we also captured the individual clicks and keystrokes, the decision logic, the business rules, all of that low-level data that's very difficult to get. We were able to get that just by recording 50, 100, 200 iterations of the process. And just to give a timeline comparison, before Mimica, this was actually a highly efficient RPA program. Most RPA programs are not this efficient. They were getting their bots into production in 8 weeks. Now, their accuracy was poor, but they were getting the bots into production that fast. With Mimica, we significantly improved their accuracy and got the bot into production in 4 weeks, where after the first week, the developer already started planning and building the automation. So the value we created was an additional 60 FTE savings in year one across their program. That was an incremental $6.6 million in value. And we brought up their average FTE savings per bot from 0.75 FTE to 1.1 FTE, which is an additional 1.2 million in value. really important to say that Mimica anonymizes all recorded data, so no confidential or personally identifiable information is persisted. We do cloud deployments, we do on-premise deployments. I mean, we work with big banks, financial services companies, government, hospitals, places where the data is extremely sensitive. And so it's really important that we do this. So the question I would leave you with is, how many bots are you planning to deploy next year? And what if you could 3x or 4x that number? Be very keen to show you a demo of the product. Please reach out to Mimica, come visit us at the table, and look forward to speaking to you then. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hope you enjoyed Mimica's presentation. They're based in London. I'm more than happy to connect you with Tuhin. Just tell me on the poll. I'm happy to make the connection. And sorry, I was not able to give an introduction for Mimica because I was experiencing some internet connection problem, which is quite common these days when everyone's working from home. Now we will move on to our next startup, Workato. Workato is an intelligent automation platform designed to automate work in business. Please welcome Fergus from Workato.
Hello, my name is Fergus, and I'm here to introduce Workato. Workato is an enterprise automation platform. The company is headquartered in Mountain View, California. We have just over 7,000 customers, around 60,000 people who build recipes on the platform. A recipe is like an automation or a workflow. Over 1,000 connectors and 500,000 community recipes. These are recipes that can be shared across the Workato community. So what is it that we do? Well, as everyone probably knows who's listening to this, there's been an explosion of SaaS application usage in the enterprise. So just like each of us has about 500 apps on our iPhone, each company seems to have about 500 apps for just about every task. This results in silos of data. It makes it difficult to manage workflows, and makes integration a big, big challenge. And that's what Workato is all about trying to resolve. So what do organizations need to do this? Well, first of all, they need to build things faster. Organizations need results quickly, and they need to see return on investment as fast as possible. They need to do more than just integration. They need to automate things. They need to take advantage of AI and machine learning. They need to use bots. And they also need to reduce the reliance on IT. So they need a solution that allows people who sit in the business to do things themselves and not to rely on IT to do everything. And lastly, this needs to be enterprise grade. It needs to be scalable. It needs to be secure. It needs to be something that a large enterprise can trust. So this is Workato. We are more than just a traditional iPaaS. And iPaaS, for those who don't know, is an integration platform as a service. But Workato does more than just be an integration platform. We provide workflow, we provide bots, and we are a full board in the cloud software as a service platform. So there's no infrastructure to manage or to upgrade or to take care of. And most importantly, the people who build the integrations and the automations of Workato don't have to be engineers or developers, and you don't have to hire in specialists to do the work. This is a little snapshot of what Workato looks like. It's very simple to configure. And really the skill set required to do this is a business analyst or an application administrator, something like a Salesforce admin. So if you could administer Salesforce, you can build automations in Workato. This enables many, many use cases across the organization, from finance to HR to IT, and right across what we now call revenue operations, that's sales, marketing, and customer success. So I hope to meet some of you later. I can tell you more about Workato, and I hope you've enjoyed this pitch. Thank you very much.
Great. Our next startup is based in Singapore. Antworks is a global artificial intelligence and intelligent automation company. They create new possibilities with data through digitalization, automation, and enterprise intelligence. Let's check out their demo video.
Einstein Square is a full-stack integrated automation platform designed to provide straight-through processing. While it can be used as a platform with its integrated strengths, it can also be consumed via independent modules. This demonstration will show how Einstein Square's CMR module provides a seamless solution to extract and curate data from a typical accounts payable process and hands it over seamlessly to the Queen bot to post it into the transaction system, completing an end-to-end accounts payable transaction. The CMR uses key pair learning technique to extract data fields from label, header, or line item details. Let's take a closer look at how this module works. The process begins with client or department creation and process creation. This is done by entering the appropriate structural aspects of the document for data extraction. Note that we will use a single sample invoice to configure patterns and define the data extraction process. With the document ready for defining the process, we will then configure 4 header fields for extraction using one of the data hunting techniques. The headers, which we will define here, are invoice number, invoice date, order ID, and amount due. Notice that we didn't define the content position of the data points. Instead, we let CMR decide which part of the document this information can be retrieved from. Similarly, we will configure line items such as cost and description using one of the data hunting techniques. Unlike the header label, the content position for line item extraction is referenced as below the label. This is to ensure that the engine understands that the only information to be picked up are those below each respective labels, such as cost and description. Configuring the line item in this manner ensures that all line items which could be available in multiple pages of the invoice copy are captured sequentially. We will also toggle or change the data field property from header to line item as part of the field definition. We finish the configuration process by defining a business rule. For example, we will change the format in which all invoice data to be captured as DD, MM, YYYY and save the same after validation. Similarly, other business rules can be defined to suit your requirements, such as math rule, special rule, and concatenate rule. CMR pulls up the remaining batch files and completes the training process. The Quality Analysis for Training function allows us to perform quality checks to see if the data elements have been captured correctly. A corresponding confidence score based on the curation of the data will then be assigned: correct in green, modified in blue, doubtful in yellow, and no data in red. We can observe here that on certain samples the order ID as well as the line items are not extracted. This is because some of the header items have different names compared to the ones that were used during process setup. We shall perform manual quality check to recalibrate these data points and add these aspects to the knowledge base as part of the training to ensure that future invoices of this format recognize the additional data field as well. The samples are once again processed to determine if the training was successful. We can see that this time around, all the data fields are extracted accurately. Hence, the training process is complete and the build is concluded. The digitized data is now available for exporting in the desired format. The Queen Bot module completes the final stages of the invoice processing, ensuring a truly end-to-end process automation. The bot is calibrated to pull up the folder in which invoice data are shared. With all the available information, the Queen bot accesses the source ERP system and uploads the extracted data into the accounts payable system, completing the whole process. Antstein Square's invoice processing solution significantly reduces the time and effort you need to process your invoices, resulting in cost savings and more efficiency for your business.
Great. Now we're going to move on to the last but not the least group of startups for today. There's cybersecurity, and we will start with Zeronetworks. We all know that it's just a matter of time till one machine inside your network will be compromised by an attacker. That attacker could be a simple ransomware all the way up to an advanced attacker. The question is, can you stop them from spreading and causing damage? Zeronetworks will stop attackers in their tracks using least privilege networking. Here we have Benny from Zeronetworks.
Hi, my name is Benny and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Zeronetworks. Let me start with a quick company snapshot. We started in 2019, came out of stealth 8 months ago, GA'd 3 months ago, have 11 deployments and already stopped 5 pen tests. Just last week, we were named as a cool vendor by Gartner, which is really cool, as well as winning a lot of awards and recognition from leading media outlets and analysts. Let's start talking about the problem that Zeronetworks solves. Did you know that network access is the #1 reason of why attacks are so successful and damaging? Excessive network access is what allows an attacker to move freely and access whatever they want once they are inside your network. This has been a key component in almost every attack you ever heard of. Every organization probably already has various detection and even response solutions. In order for these to be effective in containing an attack, there has to be a low amount of false positives, almost 0 false negatives, and the SOC has to be perfectly vigilant all the time in order to catch this right when the attack is starting. It's easy to understand that this is both exhausting and in most cases won't stop an attack. As seen in many famous attacks, cyber criminals can ransomware the entire network in less than 1 hour. I saw it myself when I was leading a cyber product at Microsoft. We witnessed firsthand how difficult it was for customers to contain an attack once it started, and I knew there has to be a way to solve this. That's why I founded Zeronetworks. Let's talk about why the problem of excessive network access still exists. In order to solve this problem, you need least privilege networking, which means a restriction of network access to only what is absolutely required. As an example, the organization would need to define that Benny from Benny's laptop can access IP addresses ABC, and Sarah from Sarah's PC can access BCD. And maybe this could be done to tens of users and machines, but as you can imagine, the IT team cannot do that for the entire network. This approach simply does not scale, but our approach does. This is where Zeronetworks comes into play. We get rid of all of that hard work by implementing an automated and self-service approach. We observe and learn all network connections and restrict network access to only what is needed. Everything else goes through a simple 2-step verification, which allows legitimate users to access what they need without having to involve IT. There is no policies to manage, no agents to deploy, just airtight network control that stops an attacker from having a free reign over your network. Before explaining this self-service flow, I want to mention that we are an agentless solution that does everything through integrating with remote APIs in your existing infrastructure, such as your identity providers to understand who are the entities in your network, and the host-based firewalls to both learn and enforce who can connect where. For example, let's illustrate the client-to-server self-service approach flow. So a client would connect to a server. Let's say they have never done that before, so they have to go through two-factor authentication. They do that through our self-service portal, and we integrate with any two-factor authentication mechanism you want and have in your organization. After that's approved, we know it's the actual user, not ransomware or an advanced attacker. We then approve that and orchestrate opening the host-based firewall on the target so that the source machine can now connect. As simple as that. Let's talk about our values, or what we bring. Microsoft mentioned in their latest report that one of the key preventative measures is network segmentations. Zeronetworks takes the network segmentation concept to the next level and creating a DMZ around every machine, which makes sure the entire organization is in a least privileged network instance. And that is what will make sure that any attack in your network will be contained. We provide you with this least privileged networking concept while also being able to drastically reduce your network security operational costs. And all of that is thanks to our self-service approach. As a last note, I want to mention that we released a free tool to help you gain insights on your network and to discover what an attacker could access once they are inside your network. From the customers that shared the report with us, the average of accessible assets is around 70%. If you would like to learn more about how easy it is to get rid of excessive network access and establish a least privileged network instance that will keep your network safe, please contact us. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Benny. And so now we will move on to our next startup, Orca. A couple of months ago, Orca announced a $20.5 million Series A funding round with participation from Silicon Valley CISO Investments. Silicon Valley CISO is a group of prominent CISOs. By the way, CISO as in Chief Information Security Officer. And they invest their own money in promising IT security startups in this fund. And this latest round for Orca brings its total funding to $27 million. Congratulations and welcome, Orca.
Hi there, thank you for joining me. In the next 5 minutes, we'll talk about the need that formed Orca, some background and history regarding the problem, and how Orca solves that problem with an industry-unique approach. Orca was founded by 8 ex-Check Point employees just under 2 years ago. They left Check Point to build a cloud security platform that was unlike anything else that existed, and I'll show you exactly how we've done that throughout the next 5 minutes. Orca Security provides workload-level security across AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. It's the only cloud security solution that identifies these security risks without the use of agents, scanners, or any code running in your cloud environment at all. Orca is very fortunate to have fintech, cloud, mid-market, and enterprise customers across North America, EMEA, and Asia Pacific. Many Orca customers have gone on the record. We have more case studies on our website than IT security firms 10 times our size. So first, let's talk about the need that Orca was founded to satisfy. To do that, let's consider what we've used to secure our data centers and cloud environments up until today. So firstly, agents. Agents are installed and maintained as another application that runs alongside your important workloads. Agents provide visibility into workload risks, but at the cost of competing for resources amongst your precious business applications. Another approach that's been used in the past has been the network scan. Network scanners probe resources externally looking for known configuration errors. And then in about the last 5 years, we've added a third category of security applications since adopting the public cloud, the CSPM, or Cloud Security Posture Manager. However, we saw 2 main problems to these approaches. The first is that agent deployments do not scale. On average, we've seen that less than 50% of all cloud resources are covered by all of the security solutions that an organization leverages. It's almost impossible to deploy agents universally. The second problem is that there are simply too many security alerts. We found that on average, you'll discover 10,000 vulnerabilities for every 100 assets. The main reason for this is that tools work in their own respective silos and they don't understand the overall picture and how security controls relate to one another. So to address these shortcomings, Orca was founded on a patent-pending technology called side scanning that has several industry-unique benefits. So first, Orca does not require or depend on any agents, network scanners, or cloud security posture managers. And yet we're able to detect risks within the workloads without sending a single packet over the network or running any ops code in the environment. Orca collects data directly from the workload's runtime block storage. This is in fact the first sort of secret sauce of the Orca approach. We combine this intelligence with cloud metadata, data like which security groups cover which workloads, how traffic is routed in your virtual networks, and much more. Instead of integrating with each and every workload requiring credentials, network access, or installing agents, we read from the common shared virtualization environment. And this facilitates an immediate understanding of all of the major risks in the environment. So in the end, you're achieving much more comprehensive visibility because you do not require per asset integration like agents do. The Orca approach is complete. We detect everything that exists now, but also into the future. No more orphaned workloads because a business unit decided they didn't want to fuss with security agents. Side scanning is also 100% zero impact. Orca has no effect on the workload as there's no code installed or running. Good, so now that we have a conceptual understanding of side scanning and the advantages that it provides, let's review the second pillar of Orca, if you will, context. Orca builds a context map by mashing up all this deep workload discovery detail combined with cloud context. Orca will discover cloud assets, identify asset roles, identify how resources are connected to each other, and then and only then Orca identifies risks with full contextual awareness. Orca detects the risks that matter most, things like vulnerabilities in operating systems and in applications, misconfigurations, machines that are already compromised, those neglected or orphaned workloads, machines that have flown under the radar and have not been maintained for years. This case is especially troublesome because these are not that difficult to detect if you can reach the machines, but both agents and network scanners make assumptions regarding everything being connected to the internet, which simply isn't valid. Orca detects the risks of lateral movement, workloads that have keys that can be used to access other sensitive resources. And we see this often. AWS keys left behind that provide root access due to poor security hygiene, or secure shell keys that facilitate accessing the entire cloud environment. We do all of this for your cloud environment literally within minutes. And that's it. I understand that was a 5-minute crash course on Orca, but hopefully that provides enough of an idea how Orca can help you achieve unprecedented security situational awareness and separate the noise from what is truly critical.
Thank you, Orca. And now we will move on to Privva. And again, if you would like to meet Orca, please click on the poll question, and we will make one-on-one intros afterwards. And Privva is a fast-growing software company providing risk management solutions to clients from mid-sized enterprises to Fortune 500. I'm very excited about their expansion and continue to see high levels of client engagement on their platform. Please welcome Privva.
Hi, I'm Ishan Gerhard, founder and CEO of Privva. Risk management and compliance are two major challenges enterprises face today, especially given the new working environment. Through the use of data and automation, Privva is redesigning how risk management workflows are managed. Privva is a cloud-based risk management platform, and as we know, risk comes in many forms. Whether your organization has a portfolio of third parties that have access to sensitive data, or you need to manage cross-business unit risk across your organization, Privva's platform is uniquely designed to meet your needs and challenges. Let's hear from Kristen at MindBody about how Privva has solved their pain points.
When I first started with MindBody, we had no vendor management process, procedures, or assessment whatsoever. So we reached out to Privva, talked a little bit about what they could do for us, and I really liked what they had to offer. We needed to have a way that we could interact with not only our business, but our customers in an automated fashion. Your tool has just the right built-in logic, so we can get these reports almost instantaneously. For this to be part of our normal package was really a lifesaver. We've been assessing prior to acquisition, and we're able to provide a really great comprehensive report of their security posture. Those reports went directly to the board. They were given a really good visual into security of that company.
MindBody is a fast-growing technology company powering the scheduling software of nearly all fitness studios in the US. Privva has a diverse customer base, including financial, insurance, legal, technology, as well as many others. Privva is the most flexible and adaptable product on the market. Our intuitive platform and user interface are designed to make your teams more efficient and increase collaboration. We also offer an extensive library of questionnaires from security and privacy, but we also support any custom questionnaires or frameworks to meet your requirements. Privva has thousands of verified profiles, streamlining the process for you to access the data, and we also offer a proprietary 10-point scoring methodology so that you can look at risk from multiple different angles. The key differentiator for Privva is truly automation. As you'll see, Privva unlocks efficiencies across your organization from scoring all the way to reporting. So let's take a look at Privva's automation in action. In this example, this vendor submitted their questionnaire. So imagine a scenario. Within seconds of a supplier submitting a questionnaire, everything is automatically scored with a residual rating of 88%. All questions map to Privva's proprietary 10-point scale. But not only that, we're able to instantly detect which questions were non-compliant and automatically create a remediation plan and simply send those remediation items to the vendors, saving your team a lot of time on the back end. Not only that, the product is really dynamic. In this example, question 1.1, if a vendor indicated that they do have an information security policy, they provided that policy, Privva's automation automatically scored it out of 5 out of 5. But if we decide and we look at this policy and it doesn't meet our standards, we flag it as a risk, and again, immediately a ticket is created and now sent out to the vendor indicating that they don't have an adequate information security policy. We also have dynamic reporting. So as you can connect with other stakeholders in your organization, we have real-time reports based on how the vendors actually answered that questionnaire at a control level. In this example here, pen test. Based on the vendor's response, that the indications are the vendor has completed a third-party penetration test. But if we go to that control, we actually realize this pen test is expired. So again, how do we save your team time on the back end? We flag this as a risk. Immediately, that ticket is created, indicating to the vendor that their pen test is no longer valid. We click it, we send it out to the third-party vendor, and in real time, we have a report that identifies that this vendor is no longer compliant with this control, and that we have indicated that they need to complete a pen test within 60 days. This automation will really save a lot of time for our clients, whether it's an internal questionnaire or an external assessment. We're really driving that efficiency throughout the process. So once you finalize your scores, Privva's on-demand reporting capabilities really helps you provide reports to various stakeholders in your organization. Whether it's creating a report for InfoSec and risk, all the way to the board level, as Kristen mentioned, we really make that process easy. And our goal is to really centralize this entire workflow on a single platform, giving you a unified approach to managing risk across your organization. Understanding that risk and compliance has a lot of eyes across your organization, bringing it all to one platform will really make your life easier. Let's hear from Brian at EAB.
I've been a Privva customer for almost 3 years now with 2 different organizations. In both instances, Privva has significantly helped to reduce the level of effort associated with conducting vendor risk assessments. Prior to using Privva, my teams and I relied on email to facilitate communications and collect information from vendors. This required a lot of manual effort, and we frequently lost track of where we were in the process. With Privva, I have a central point of collecting documentation and communicating with vendors. We've cut the time to complete risk assessments from weeks and months to days, which means we can focus our energy on other aspects of our security program.
Thanks for taking time to listen and learn about Privva. If you have any follow-up questions or you want to learn more, please feel free to contact me at ishan@privva.com, or you can visit our website to learn more at www.privva.com. Thanks for your time today.
Thank you, Ishan, and thank you, Privva. Here we have the poll question, and please answer. We will move on to Authomize. Authomize enables organizations to automatically manage and secure authorizations across your on-premises and cloud-based IT. Welcome, Authomize, and here we have Dutan.
Hi, I'm Dutan Bernoy, CEO and co-founder at Authomize. Authomize helps organizations with identity lifecycle management and policy enforcement. The solution is considered under the IGA, Identity Governance and Administration category, and we were recently mentioned by Gartner also under the KIM, Cloud Infrastructure Entitlement Management category. And we started Authomize with a goal to solve a really tough business problem, which is permission management or authorization. Managing permission is a crucial part of companies' growth. However, now more than ever, it's hard, it's extremely hard. There's a few reasons why it's hard. First of all, We have so many different identities that we need to manage. Our workforce, our external users. We also have service accounts and RPAs that are running in our organization. And of course, there's so many different applications that need to be addressed. So Salesforce, Office 365, AWS, GCP, Azure, all those are different and they have different structure of authorization. So I need to be a domain expert in each one of those in order to manage that. And more than that, I would say that everything is so dynamic. Organization are constantly changing. Departments are moving around. You're doing M&A, and you're adding more and more applications. So you have a lot of turnover with applications that's kind of shifting and change. And naturally, there's no more perimeters. Now more than ever in the COVID world, identity is kind of the new perimeter that you have in the organization. Many times when I talk to customers about that, they see the security perspective. Managing permission is a security issue. And yes, they're right. Gartner mentioned that in the last 3 years as top 1 priority. However, this is post-act. When you look at kind of managing permission, you kind of need to look at the operational side of things. And about 20% on average of the tickets in the IDOps are permission related. So it's a huge burden the organization needs to deal with. Not even talking about certification campaigns that you need to run, compliance that needs to be adhered, separation of duties, and so on. So this is actually why we started Authomize. It stands for authorization and automation. And in essence, we start where your SSO stops, deep into the application. We want to enable an effortless and secure authorization management across all platforms. What we actually did in order to kind of fulfill this vision is to build an automated authorization management solution that helps you with identity lifecycle management, to find just enough privileges, and of course, to enforce whatever policies you want, separation of duties, security, and so on. Our core IP is the smart groups, which enable us to collect information from application, the usage as well, correlate that into the effective role you have in the organization. This is actually how we are able to reduce NTTR, increase productivity in the operational side, and of course, reduce the risk, the attack surface, and help ensure compliance. A visualization of that would be Ben, our system engineer. So this is Ben, this is a different application he has permission to, and of course, once Authomize is integrated to those applications, we start collecting the information. We analyze Ben in accordance to his groups, in accordance to his peers, and so on. We understand what is over permission, what is under permission, so things he's likely to need and he doesn't have. And out of that, we can give recommendations to how to better manage this permission. Another use case is when you open a permission request, a ticket. This ticket actually goes through the organization to IT ops, to admin, owner, so on. Authomize actually integrates into the ITSM system, injects the recommendations. So we say, yes, Ben is likely to need that. And this is how you need to fulfill this, add Ben to this group in order for him to get that permission. Or if there is a red flag, no, don't grant that. And here is the evidence to why not. The solution is currently deployed with few customers, US-based. Feedback so far has been good. Visibility, deep dive, the ability to really extract the information, the dice and slice, as well as the operational feedback that we give the organization in order to manage better. And we are offering our solution as a SaaS. That means that deployment is extremely easy. We also have an open API, so you can integrate connectors. You can build your own connectors to your homegrown application or integrate on-prem and so on. We do address out-of-the-box connectors to the Okta top 10, and we're adding more and more connectors all the time. We also integrate to the social truths, to the Azure Active Directory, Okta, Ping, and so on, and to the ITSM, as I mentioned. All that information is gathered, analyzed, and out of that, we can give you the recommendations, suggestions of what needs to be done. Prior to Authomize, I was at Checkpoint, leading the Infinity Next platform. I joined Checkpoint following the acquisition of ForceNock. I was the co-founder and CEO at ForceNock. We did web application and API protection. With me on the team, I have as a CTO and co-founder Gal. He was the CTO of Cyvera, acquired by Palo Alto. He then was a VP at Palo Alto Network. And Ron, our VP R&D and co-founder, he was at the A200 Talpiot. It's kind of the low-budgeted Israeli NSA. And together we started Authomize, as I mentioned, to really solve a huge problem. And we have great support. We are backed by Microsoft as an investor, by Bloomberg Capital, by Entry Capital, and created advisory board, including the former CIO of Okta, the former CIO of Splunk, the current CISO and VP security of Twitter, the former CISO of ServiceNow, and more great people. What we are looking for is more customers and partners to work with and to continue our journey to build an amazing solution that will really help customers manage permission better. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Dutan. And my dear passengers, our flight of Enterprise Tech Batch 6 is about to land. The local time at San Jose is 2:31 p.m. I'm your captain, Zoe. Last but not least, we have Normshield, and they're based in Vienna, not Austria, but in United States. That's, you're right, we're back to the US. When you need cyber risk monitoring, Normshield makes this simple, scalable, all-encompassing, and tailored to identify your problem areas. Their platform is not just another cyber rating tool. It tells you which vendors pose the highest risk to your company without creating more works for you, for which I really appreciate. And here we have some testimonials from Normshield's customers, and the CEO, Paul, will give more information about the platform.
I have not seen any other platform that has that available. I mean, quite frankly, it blew my socks away when I saw it.
The aha moment was everyone in that room went, I could see how I could utilize this.
I can utilize Normshield and scan a company and know a company's cybersecurity posture without even having to step foot in that company's door.
This data comes from NIST, it comes from MITRE, it comes from, you know, the FAIR. It's not Normshield's proprietary saying this is what's going to happen.
I find it, you know, far more sophisticated and comprehensive than anything else I've used.
We had never seen a platform that provides that level of visibility. And then even just moving into the technical data, I mean, it just provides way more data points than any of the other competitors that are out there.
Organizations are struggling with the amount of third parties that are part of their ecosystem of running their company and understanding the risk. And we're trying to make that simple so that organizations know how to look at risk from an ecosystem or third party perspective. One of the things I like to do is just give you a flavor right up front for what this looks like. When you look at cyber risk, what a lot of people think about is, well, how good are you from a cyber standpoint? And that's what the score is there on the left-hand side. In the middle, you see a financial risk, which is the annualized potential loss of dealing with this particular company. And on the right, you see how they're doing from a compliance standpoint. So that's really the essence of, if we bubble this up to a report of what the deliverable is or what we track, it involves those three elements.
Just having so many different elements in one space.
Out of those 12 vendors, Normshield were the only ones on that occasion that we then wanted to take further forward.
It's still so simple to use. Normshield's just awesome.
Why is this a problem today? Well, most of the breaches are now coming through these extended ecosystems of third parties. And the current methods of doing this are manual, and they rely on the reporting by the third party. So if I tell you I'm good from a security standpoint, you just have to take that at face value. Well, that's not good enough anymore. CEOs and boards are liable, and the regulators are expecting continuous assessment and some validation of the security of their vendors. And if there's a problem, if you get hacked through your supply chain, the CEO and the board is on the hook. So we do security cyber ratings, and that's a component of this bigger integrated risk market. The integrated risk market includes things that you're familiar with, like financial or credit risk, reputation risk, location risk, those things. Those things have been around for a lot of years, and it's sort of been the backbone of building platforms that do those calculations.
It's very disruptive.
It's a great tool.
I have not seen any other platform that has that available.
Makes the process efficient for us. It's easier, right?
So it's really simple. It really looks like this. We give you a cyber rating that's based on MITRE and NIST, something you can understand. Our competitors don't do that. We give you a financial rating based on open FAIR, which gives you an annualized loss projection that you can use to assess the impact of the cyber rating. And then finally, we make your job easier by giving you compliance information based on either your shared assessments or one of the reports that you upload. And we crosswalk that to all the standards that we have in the system. So these three things together make a huge difference in terms of scaling your third-party risk program. So what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is you save money. Why? You save money on labor, you save money on system cost, and you can do 3 times, 5 times the vendors and let the system do the work for you, right? Understand your vendors, reduce your cost, reduce your risk.
Great! That concludes our startup presentation for today. If you would love to meet Normshield, please click here on the poll. And I hope you enjoyed the trip despite a little bit of the turbulence in the middle caused by the internet connections. Now I will hand it over to my colleague Nate to announce the Corporate Innovation Award, as well as a very quick closing remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nate Hinman. I'm co-director of the Enterprise Tech Program with Connie Weissman. Hope you enjoyed the startup pitches today. Now we're going to give our Corporate Innovation Award. For every cohort, we provide one Corporate Innovation Award to a partner of ours who has basically expressed what it looks like to be a good corporate partner. They have been dedicated to meeting startups, they've run POCs, and they've made actual implementations of these solutions externally. So this cohort's Corporate Innovation Award is going to Deloitte. So unfortunately, we can't have them come up on stage to accept the award, but we will be sending that out to you this year. So thank you so much, Deloitte. Now I'm going to go into the closing remarks, just a few words before we jump into the networking session. Thanks again for attending. If you'd like to connect with any startups, please connect with either myself, Connie, Amit, or Zoe, and we will facilitate those introductions. Some upcoming events that we have. On October 28th, we have a cybersecurity in healthcare webinar, which is going to dive into cybersecurity solutions and their applications for the healthcare industry, to help protect against some of the recent ransomware attacks that we've seen. Coming up on November 16th through 19th is the Winter Summit. So the remaining cohorts from the from the plug and play programs will be graduating in November. And then sometime in January, we haven't locked in a date yet, we will have our next Future of Telecom event. So I hope you can attend all of these. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Just a special shout out to all of our corporate partners. Thank you very much for attending today. We couldn't be here without you. You've been great this cohort and connecting with startups. And so once again, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. Up next, we have our remote networking session. So here's the link here. I know you can't click on it likely, but we'll have it in the chat as well as in your email as well. So feel free to join the networking session. It's a pretty cool app. You're able to jump around from multiple tables to meet other people in the program, as well as some of our corporate partners. So feel free to attend the remote networking. We'd love to see you there. And that's it for me. So again, thanks so much for your time. My name's Nate from Enterprise Tech, and we look forward to continuing conversations with you, and have a great day. Thank you so much.
Great. As Nate mentioned, we will kick off the remote networking session at 3 p.m. In 20 minutes. And you could join from the link on the screen. I also just texted in the chat. So just by clicking it, you can register yourself. And I want to thank you everyone for participating in today's event. And we're looking forward to seeing you in the remote networking session. Everybody, please stay safe and healthy, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.